And another terrific crowd here tonight. Appreciate everybody coming out to talk Colorado State Ram football tonight. Of course, we have the head football coach at Colorado State, Jay Norvell. We'll talk to Jay for the first 35 minutes. And also, as we will be each and every week, joined by special guests throughout the course of the season. Sophomore safety Jack Howell is in the house tonight. And defensive coordinator Freddie Banks is in the house tonight as well. And, of course, Freddie looks like he has his family with him too, so it's good to see everybody here. All right, well, Colorado State falls in their home opener on Saturday to Middle Tennessee. And Jay, I know that's a disappointing loss and a disappointing way to start out that game. And it kind of had a weird feel to it, you know, the opening kickoff.
Yeah.
That Middle Tennessee player goes down. There's a 10-minute delay. You guys come out, a tipped pass goes back to the house for a pick six, and it just kind of started going that way from really the opening kickoff.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say how much I really appreciate all the people that come out and to this show and our fans that support us. It's really humbling, the support that we've gotten from the CSU fans, and I assume you care about CSU football, and I want to give you a sincere answer here. You know, I was extremely troubled by our football team Saturday, and you know, I try to explain to everybody that you really don't know what you're working with until you start playing meaningful games. And the response that we had Saturday was just not acceptable. It wasn't an acceptable response. Our home opener, the excitement of playing in front of our fans. And, you know, we knew going into this season we were going to have some new pieces that we're going to play. We're going to play a young quarterback. You know, and sometimes when you play a young quarterback, they do curious things, okay, that mean nothing to anybody. And that's what happened on that first play of the game. You know, we were confident. We thought it was a really good play. And he just was so excited. He hurried through the progression. We had a guy open deep, and he just got off of it so fast. And he went to his check down so fast. He went 1, 2, 3, bam, but sometimes kids do that. You know, that when a kid doesn't have experience, he has nothing to rely on. And so he overthought it in his head, and it happened so quickly. But I was really disappointed at the way we responded to adversity. You know, we really shut it down in that first half. We did not fight and respond back the way we're capable of. And the really sad thing was we practiced way harder than we played in the first half. And so we're modifying behavior. We're trying to work on the mindset of these players and get them to play and perform the way they practice in games. And you know, we came back in the third quarter, and for about 9 minutes, we competed our tails off, and we scored 3 times, and we played great defense, and we played good special teams. And we're capable of doing that the whole game. And there wasn't a man on this planet that could tell me we weren't going to win that game in the third quarter, because we've done it so many times, come back from behind. We have an offense that can throw the football, that can get back into games when you get behind. And I really felt like we were going to come back and win. And so it's a learning process. You know, in many ways we're starting from scratch. I know fans don't like to hear that. I'm certainly very impatient. I don't want to go through growing pains. I want it to all happen right now. But the reality is, in many ways, we are starting from scratch. We're creating behaviors that will help these players win. And in many ways, we're asking them to do things they're not used to doing. Some kids are responding well to that. Some kids aren't. And so that's the way it goes. You know, nobody puts a gun to guys' heads and makes them play this game. It's by choice. It's a hard game, and you got to be committed to what the team is doing. So we're not discouraged, but we are looking through the world with reality glasses, and we have to make some adjustments to go out and be competitive.
Yeah, slow start offensively, and can you chalk that up to a little bit of the inexperience at that quarterback position and you know, offensive line that's trying to come together as well? Because when you did put it together, I mean, all of a sudden it did start to click there in the third quarter.
We had to make some adjustments. You know, we we don't have a very deep roster, and we lost 2 tackles last week, and we lost 2 tackles, our 2 starting tackles on Wednesday in practice. And so it's just very difficult to adjust the game plan that late in the week to some of the personnel that you have playing. And we felt like those guys would be okay, and then we started in the game, and in the first half we were just not okay. And we couldn't handle the things that we were asking them to do. And so we basically put a whole new game plan together at halftime and played by the seat of our pants. And we made a lot of strides in the third quarter. We take a lot of pride at making adjustments at halftime. And we did some real positive things. We got back in the game, and I really felt like we had a fighting chance to win the game if we would have made a couple more plays and late in that third quarter and early fourth. But those are experiences that we could show our guys. We always feel like we're in the game, even if we get behind, and we've won a lot of games like that over the years by coming back and making adjustments. So we just got to stick in there. Our kids never quit. We responded the way we want to do in the third quarter. But we've got to play 60 minutes of clear-minded, error-free football, and that's what we're striving for.
So the offensive line, obviously, you have a better idea moving forward here this week. You lose Brian Crespo-Hawkes, of course, a local kid from Poudre High School, starting left tackle. You lose him in practice, and I know the prognosis with Brian isn't good. What about Dante Keys?
Yeah, Dante, he stretches his medial collateral ligament. It's not a season-ending injury. He tried to play, but he just couldn't play.
Right.
And so we're going to be smart with him. We have a long season. The conference games are so important to us, and we're going to try to manage him and get him back for conference play. He's such a big, important player for us. And so Owen Snidely's going to play. Ches Jackson's going to play. And we have some experienced guys that have played different positions, and we're going to kind of move those guys around and get a winning combination. And we feel like we've been able to solidify that in practice. We got a much different plan this week than we had last week. We were able to put some pieces in place where we can slow down the rush, and we make those adjustments, and I think we'll attack this game much differently.
I want to go back to Clay Miller because he made some really nice throws, and of course Tory Horton had a monster game and really a monster third quarter. I mean, for an individual receiver to do what he did in that third quarter. But you looked at Clay late in that contest. He had taken some pretty big shots at it, and I was doing the TV, and we had a tight shot of Clay on the sideline, and I think he was telling Matt Mummy, I want to stay in. I'm okay. I'm okay. Were you considering in the fourth quarter taking Clay out because he had taken a few shots throughout the course of the game?
Not really. It really wasn't. And he did take a lot of shots. Yeah. And he's a tough kid. He's an athletic kid. And he's a pretty mature guy. But there were moments in that first half where, you look at a kid and he's not right. And we tried to manage that and ride through it in the first half the best we could, but he came out of it, and he's a competitor, and these experiences are going to serve him well. I mean, the first 2 weeks of the season, he's had a pretty rough go, and there's nobody sicker than me about it. I don't want to put our quarterback in those situations. We spend all night trying to figure out ways to put him in the right situation where he doesn't have to get hit, but we have to do a better job. And we try to do the things we need to do to win the game, and sometimes he's put in harm's way a little bit, and we've adjusted our plan, and I think we have a much better way to protect him.
I think Ram fans are excited about number 14, though, outside on the wide receiver position. I mean, Tory Horton was so good. I mean, he was good in the opener. Obviously caught the 34-yarder against Michigan. You mentioned against a 5-star cornerback for the Wolverines. And then he goes for 9 catches, 186 yards, 3 touchdowns. Those are great numbers, and you'll never turn those down. But I did the math on it. He had 73% of the receiving yards in that contest. And obviously, you want the ball in his hands, but you'd like to see other guys catching the ball as well.
No doubt. And we kind of got into a game where we had to max protect him because our tackles were struggling. They couldn't win their one-on-one matchups, and so we had to change how we play. And that's just kind of the way it was. So he got kind of dialed into a guy that can make big plays and chunk yards for him, and Tory certainly can do that. We have other good receivers. Usually our stat line, we'll have 6 or 7 guys that catch balls, but it was an unusual game. We had to play it unusually because of the situation with the injuries to tackle.
All right, well, while we're on the topic of wide receivers, I think it was last night, maybe even today, Dante Wright announced that he was going into the transfer portal. I think it probably surprised a few Ram fans, but that's kind of the nature of college football here these days.
Yeah, and I'm not going to really speak specifically about Dante, but, in general, we're doing things much differently than have been done here in the past. And we're asking guys to do certain things. We're looking for good players. We're looking for as many receivers as we can. We don't have enough of them. And so, but guys have to do what they're asked to do. And if they don't feel like they want to do that, then they have the choice not to play. And I actually respect that. I respect it when guys are honest and make that choice. So, we wish him the best of luck. He's a good kid. And, we wish him the best.
Yeah, Matt and Caden Camper, a kicker, also on his way. So you guys have a decision to make going into week number 3 with the place kicking, too.
Yeah, we'll look at that. And we've got a couple good young kids that are doing a good job in practice, and we'll make an evaluation by the end of the week.
All right, we're going to take our first time out here of the night. Again, Jack Howell, the sophomore safety's with us. Freddie Banks, defensive coordinator, also with us as well tonight from CB and Potts. We'll take a timeout. Stay with us here this evening on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield. CBM Pots, restaurant and tap room. Collindale up in Fort Collins, going to be here each and every Wednesday evening. Again, we go 6 to 7 live here from CBM Pots, and again, great food and drink specials each and every week. We continue to take a look at last week's game. That's brought to you by Bank of Colorado. There's only one Colorado and one CSU, one bank. Cheers as loud as you do. It's Bank of Colorado. There's only one member FDIC. All right, Brian Roth back with the head football coach at Colorado State, Jay Norvell. Rams fall to Middle Tennessee on Saturday, and they prepare for Washington State up in Pullman. Pac-12 opponent on Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Mountain kickoff time. We'll go on the air at 1 p.m. Mountain with the Tailgate Show. Before we get to the Cougars, I did want to bring up the defense on Saturday because, they were able to force some turnovers.
Yep.
Second half with that first drive notwithstanding, I mean, they really, really played well. 12 tackles for a loss in the contest. Mo Kamara was really good. Jack Howell, really good as well.
No doubt. There was some really outstanding effort plays, and I'm sure Freddie can speak on that. But the pressure that we put up front, with CJ and Mo, they've just been playing so hard, and then the great coverage downfield with Chiggy playing tight coverage and then Jack getting a tip. That's the kind of defense we want to play, and we really stress it in practice. And Freddie and the defensive coaches really stress disruption, tight coverage, and getting their hands on balls that are errant throws. And, we want to be opportunistic. And, the thing is, the biggest challenge as a coaching staff is to get the offense and the defense and the special teams all playing together. And when we play off of each other, that's when you really see the positive things happen.
Yep, absolutely. How have the guys reacted here this week? You guys back on the practice field Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, now 3 days into this preparation week.
It's been an interesting week. We've had a lot of conversations, and, I think it's my job as a head coach, to really talk to these guys and really find out where they're coming from and find out what's the bottom of some of the issues that we've had. And I had a lot of questions. I couldn't wait to see the guys on Sunday. I met with our leadership team on Sunday, and I just was very blunt and very honest with them about some of the issues that we had in the game and moving forward. Had great conversations with them. They had some very passionate responses. And we've had great conversations with players during the week. I pulled a lot of guys aside. We had a couple of players that decided that they wanted to move on. And that's brought a lot of light to some things too. And some things that have happened here in the past and their feelings about the game. And, it's a tough game. And so we've had a good week, and I think we've really stressed preparation. And, the thing that I want our kids to understand is that team we played Saturday, Middle Tennessee, they're very indicative of what we're going to see every week in the Mountain West. They're a team that's used to winning. They're a team that's been to a bowl game. They got good coaches. They're gonna have a good plan and offensively to attack you. And you have to prepare. You have to practice well during the week. And then, it really is simple. You have to play harder than them, and you have to out-execute them. And that's what we're working hard in practice to do, and we've had a good week of that this week.
All right, Rams getting set to take on Washington State up in Pullman coming up Saturday afternoon. Cougars went on the road. They won at number 19, Wisconsin, 17-14. I know you made mention in your press conference on Monday. Obviously, you're a Madison guy. You grew up in Madison around that Wisconsin program. Camp Randall Stadium's not an easy place to play. If you're going to win in Madison, especially when the Badgers are a nationally ranked team, you've got to be a physical football team, and I know that's what you think of Washington State.
Wisconsin has a very physical style. They try to just run the football and play great defense. And I think it was obviously a big win for Washington State to go in there and win. They didn't really do much flashy. They didn't have big stats offensively or defensively. They just played hard. They played really hard. They made fewer mistakes than Wisconsin did. And they took advantage of their opportunities, and they made a couple more plays than the Badgers, and they won the game. And so that's a credit to them. Washington State has had a tough-minded program over the years, and it's always not an easy place to play going to the Palouse. So it'll be a big challenge for us. But I think physically they're very similar to us. I think they have a couple of good players. Their best defensive player played for me last year at Nevada. I mean, he transferred. Our old defensive coordinator is the defensive coordinator there. They run a lot of air raid schemes offensively, so there's a lot of similarities offensively and defensively in this game, and our kids should have a lot of familiarity.
Yeah, you talked about the defensive coordinator. Brian Ward was your DC for a couple of years, and then Dayon Henley.
Yep.
I mean, I remember that kid running all over the field the last few years for you, and he goes to Washington State, and you can make the argument he's their best defensive player.
There's no question. And he's a kid we recruited out of Crenshaw High School in Los Angeles. He's a quarterback there, and played receiver for us, played safety for us, and now he's an NFL prospect at linebacker, and really good player, playing well for him. He had an interception in the first game, the end of the game, to help them win. And so we're very familiar. We have another player that's the safety for them that played for us at Nevada.
Lee, right?
And so Jordan Lee,
Right.
and so we're very familiar with their team. But it's a good matchup for us. I think physically we can match up with them. And so it's going to come down to how hard we play and our execution.
They have a new quarterback, and it's really an interesting situation for Washington State. And again, they're really excited about their football team this year, but they bring a quarterback in named Cameron Ward, and he played the last 2 years at Incarnate Word. It's an FCS program down in San Antonio.
Yep.
And he was an FCS All-American last year, threw for 4,700 yards, 47 touchdowns. So he transfers to Washington State. His head coach at Incarnate Word also goes to Washington State, and he's now their offensive coordinator. I mean, it's kind of a strange little deal with the quarterback and the coach each making the transition to FBS.
Yeah, Eric Morris was a receiver for Mike Leach at Texas Tech, and we used to, when I was at Oklahoma, we used to play against them, and obviously played for Mike Leach, understands the air raid. They run a lot of air raid concepts. They're kind of slowing things down now and trying to control the clock and doing some things a little bit differently. But the quarterback's very athletic. He can run. He's not very tall, but does a good job. They do some fake the run and throw the ball, and he's good at that and does a good job. And so we're gonna have to keep him in the pocket and do a good job with him.
Yeah, but they have a running back, Nakia Watson, who's a transfer from Wisconsin. So I imagine he had a pretty fun week last week. But again, Ward is an interesting guy to watch for Ram fans here coming up on Saturday at Washington State. Going on the road, you have a road game in your back pocket in front of 109,000 fans. Pullman at the stadium there holds, I think, 38, 39. So it'll be a different atmosphere, but that doesn't mean it can't be as rowdy. But it's good to have a road game in your back pocket.
It does, and we've been on the road, and we understand how we travel, and we're kind of past all the big meetings of teaching these guys how to travel on the road and all those things. So, no, I think that road trip will help us. Having gone to Ann Arbor in this trip. It's a fun place to play. Their fans get into the game. They're very supportive, and it can get loud there, but that's what you want. You want to play in that kind of environment. And Idaho went in there and almost won. They went down to the last play, and so and we've played there before. So it should be a good trip for us. I think these first two games are great games to prepare us for the rest of the year, and playing on the road, playing at home, playing the teams that we've played, I think will help prepare us for the rest of our schedule.
All right, so this is the second time that Colorado State and Washington State have played. Who remembers the first game? A lot of hands going up. Jay, have you heard the story about the 2013 New Mexico Bowl?
I probably need a refresher.
I know. I don't know why you would have. I mean, it's a bowl game from 9 years ago. Well, we're going to take a timeout. Jay, I'm going to tell you about the 2013 New Mexico Bowl against Washington State when we come back. Stay with us here tonight. We're live in Fort Collins on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield. Tap Room, the Coors Light Jay Norvell Coaches Show. Taking you right up until 7 o'clock here this evening. So, just about halfway through the program. Still have safety Jack Howell, defensive coordinator Freddie Banks coming up on the program. Brian Roth, voice of the Rams, with you. Still another segment here with head coach Jay Norvell. Tonight's show brought to you by Canvas Credit Union. They're proud to be the official credit union of the CSU Rams. You can visit them, their CSU branch. It's located in the Laurie Student Center. To open up an account there or visit them at canvas.org/CSU. All right, so Colorado State going to take on Washington State on Saturday afternoon up in Pullman. Second matchup between these two teams. First matchup was the 2013 New Mexico Bowl. I know a lot of people know about the New Mexico Bowl. Who was at the New Mexico Bowl that year? Man, it's a lot of folks that were at that game. It was in Albuquerque. And it was the second year of head coach Jim McElwain. All right, I'm gonna get to, who was on the field after the game, charging the field. Yeah, all right, good. We got everybody charging the field that game too. All right, I'm gonna give you just kind of a quick synopsis of what kind of happened in that game, because I think there's gonna be some Cougar fans up there when they see the green and gold of Colorado State or might get sick to their stomach. And they're nice folks up there, but I don't know if they want to see CSU. All right, Colorado State's down by as many as 22. Against Washington State at the New Mexico Bowl. With 4.5 minutes to go, Rams are down by 15. CSU goes on a 72-yard drive, scores, and they make it a 45-37 game. All of a sudden, it's down to a one-possession game. Well, Washington State gets the football back, and obviously CSU needs a turnover. Mike Leach is the head coach. They got to run the football. They're not very good at it. Well, Shaquille Barrett, who, of course, we all know, Shaquille now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You think to yourself, you need a turnover. Shaquille Barrett strips the quarterback, okay? Rams get the ball. Everybody's going crazy. They take a look at the video replay. His knee is down. So he's down. You think there is your one chance to get that turnover for Colorado State. The very next play, Shaquille Barrett strips the running back this time. Ball goes flying in the air, lands right into Barrett's hands. Rams get the football back with 2 minutes to go. They take it in. Capri Bibbs, another guy that had NFL time, took it into the end zone. You still need the two-point conversion. Rams run the Statue of Liberty play, give it to Donnell Alexander on the outside, dives to the pylon. He's in, 45-45. We're going to overtime, right? That game never made it to overtime. Ensuing kickoff. Washington State fumbles on the kickoff return. Rams pounce on it. Jared Roberts makes a 41-yard field goal. Time expires. Awesome. Rams win it.
Awesome. Very well done, Brian. That was very well done.
Well, you know, I mean, it was just one of those. It was so fluky, and It was one of the most incredible come-from-behind victories that you needed.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to go absolutely perfect for you, and, the Rams got it done. So this will be matchup number 2, and I don't know if it's going to be as exciting as that, but I'll tell you what, I know we're looking forward to it. Before we let you go, quickly, give me an idea of what Jack Howell has meant to this football program. And I want to throw this out there, too. We're going to talk to Jack in a second. He had 17 tackles on Saturday against Middle Tennessee.
No, I tell you, I have a lot of respect for guys that play safety on defense. You have to be able to see the whole field. You have to be able to communicate to your other teammates. And you really have to have a nose for the ball. And Jack's done an amazing job of that, just seeing the field, communicating with his teammates, seeing the plays develop, and then just having a nose for the football and getting there and when the ball's in the air, being in position to get tips. I just think he's going to have a really monster year and just so excited to watch his development, and he's a fun guy to watch play. And that's the kind of energy and effort we want to play on defense. And he's taken that to heart, what Coach Banks has asked him to do, and he's done a fabulous job. All
right. Well, Jay, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. Best of luck at Washington State on Saturday. We'll see you on the plane.
Appreciate you.
Head coach Jay Norvell. We're going to give him a break. Freddie Banks coming up in just a little bit, but up next, it's Jack Howell. Back after this on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield. For a couple more segments here tonight of the Courtside Jay Norvell Coaches Show. We are at CB and Potts Restaurant and Tap Room, Collindale in Fort Collins. We'll be here coming up next week as well at 6 p.m. But 2 weeks from now, Rams will be on a bye week, and we will not be here. You can be here. We're just not going to be here from 2 weeks from now. But come back out coming up next week. All right, how about a nice warm welcome for Jack Howell, the sophomore safety. A kid who grew up in Fort Collins, played some high school ball down in the Denver area, and also played some high school ball in Chandler, Arizona. Jack, thanks so much for joining us. Talk about that a little bit, because here you are. Your dad obviously is a former Rams safety that would go on to the NFL, would win a Super Bowl championship with Tampa Bay. Everybody remembers how good of a player John Howell was. You grew up in Fort Collins. Talk about the roundabout way you made it back.
Yeah, so I grew up in Fort Collins, went to Preston Middle School, and met some guys like Tanner, Arkin, Giles Pooler. So got to meet up with them here again. But went down to Valor for 3 years, and senior year went to Hamilton High School in Arizona, and that was a great transition as well. And had a great 3 years at Valor, but it was also awesome experiences, something new in Arizona too.
Yeah, and of course that was the COVID year, and Colorado high school football didn't know if they were going to play, right?
Right.
I mean, at the start of the year, Colorado was not going to have high school football, but Arizona was, right?
Yeah, correct. And I'd moved out there actually prior to COVID.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Happening.
All
yes.
right. My bad.
No, yeah, it's okay. A lot of people think that I moved out there for COVID.
That's good to know, though. I'm
Yeah.
going to write that down.
Yeah, but I moved out there before and just got in the system early, and then COVID happened, and I didn't know if there's going to be a season in Arizona, and it was looking like there was going to be that one there and not Colorado, but everything worked out for both states. So
Yeah. Well, we talked about the bloodlines, and John Howell was as tough of a Ram as you're ever going to find. And your sister's a pretty darn good athlete as well. Tell Ram fans about your sister.
Yeah, so she played college soccer at Florida State University and won the Mac Herman Trophy 2 times, which is
the Heisman Trophy, right?
Yeah, to the Heisman Trophy.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. So got some big shoes to live up to. But now she's playing at Racing Louisville. It's a professional soccer club in Louisville, and she's doing good. So
and then she's played on the U.S. women's national team, right, and some friendlies as well.
Yeah, she has. She's played on the full team, and then growing up playing U20s and U23s. So
yeah.
It's just fun being able to see all the success that she's had, and just continuing to be able to watch her do what she does, and so we support each other, and it's awesome.
Yes, pretty good bloodlines in that family, to say the least. All right, Jack, what does it mean to put on the green and gold and the same Ram helmet that your dad used to wear?
Yeah, it's everything. We do the Ram Walk. Coach Norvell brought that over from Nevada, and that means a lot to us players. And our pastor, Pastor Squares, also played for Colorado State. So, whenever we're doing that Ram Walk, I get to think of my father and Pastor Squares and, just how much they mean to me and what an honor it is to be able to represent my last name on the same jersey that my dad did. So.
All right, Jack Howell continuing to join us here tonight on the Jay Norvell Coaches Show, 5'11" sophomore. Boy, last year you come to Colorado State, and as a freshman, you never know if you're going to get a chance to play. I think when you got here, probably didn't think you'd play too much, but hey, that's college football. Injuries happen. Whether you were ready or not, you got thrown into the mix. What was that like? And it had to have just helped you a bunch coming into this season.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't think I was ready getting thrown into the mix, but. Logan Stewart was a guy, safety that we had, and he was injured, and then Henry Blackburn ended up being injured as well. Taiwan Francis went down, so I was in the mix really, really early and really quick. Sooner than I wanted to be, but I'm actually thankful looking back into it that trial by fire just got thrown in there and did good, and my coaches and teammates helped me out, and I was just put in good positions and didn't look back from there. Yeah,
I imagine the game's much slower this year.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice getting those jitters out, your first year, and understanding the speed of the game and how everything works at the collegiate level. So it's definitely better this year, and we got a good system with Coach Banks, and love love that role that I'm playing right now. So just continue to get better each week.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that system, because I know talking to Freddie over the last 5, 6, 7 months, he likes his defense to be fast, attacking type defense. Describe that defense you're a part of.
Right, yeah. Coach Banks says the only way to play football is physical, and that's kind of what we try to represent every time we go out on that field is be fast and physical, running the ball. Good things are going to happen if you're running the ball and playing fast. Everything else is going to come from there.
All right, so the game against Middle Tennessee, 17 tackles for Jack Howe and an interception, and that's a pretty good day's work. Did you have any idea that you were involved in that many plays? Can you kind of sense that as the game goes, or was it one of those you look at the stat sheet or somebody tells you after the game, hey, man, you had 17 tackles?
Yeah, so I had an interview right after, and they told me I had 17 tackles, and it did surprise me a little bit because you kind of just get in the zone when you're out there, and you don't really realize what you're doing at the time, but then you go on film afterwards, and me and Coach Banks were kind of arguing, and I had 17 tackles or 15. He thinks it's 15, but
trying to rob you of 2 tackles.
Yeah, I know.
All right, final thought before I let you go. Give us your thoughts going into Washington State on Saturday.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys are ready. We want to get our first win. For some of us, it's been 8, 9 games, and we don't like losing. And so, we're going to flip it around, and it's just going to take time. But we're excited to go into Washington State. We think we got a good game plan, and we just got to execute.
All right, Jack, best of luck. Go get a W.
Thank you.
All right, Jack Howe, sophomore safety for the Colorado State Rams. Of course, his father again, the legendary John Howe. We'll take a timeout. Freddie Banks, defensive coordinator of Colorado State. He joins us in the final segment of the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield. To the Coors Light J. Norvell Coaches Show as we come to you from CB and Potts Restaurant and Tap Room here in Fort Collins. And Freddie Banks, defensive coordinator here at CSU, going to join us. He has his family here tonight, and that's a lot of work. You're trying to feed two young mouths as well. And nice warm welcome here for Freddie Banks, one of the bright young coaching stars in college football. And Coach Banks, great to see you. Thanks for coming out here tonight. And
appreciate you having me.
Kind of give Ram fans a little bit of your background. You're a guy that played some football at North Dakota State.
Yep.
I know you have some of that Craig Bowl defensive background with you as well. And then you were with J. Norvell at Nevada 2 years ago. And then, boy, you got your first shot as a defensive coordinator last year.
Yeah, so actually my first coordinator job was my second year ever coaching.
Oh, was
so
it really?
Weird. Yeah, I was at Minnesota State Moorhead.
Okay.
And got thrown in the fire. I wasn't ready back then, so
right.
It was fun. So I started out at Minnesota State Moorhead, right across the river at North Dakota State, and kind of took a journey to Nicholls State in Louisiana. Stayed in Louisiana for another year. Went to Midwestern State in Texas. Was at Stephen F. Austin. Then I got to work with Coach in 2020 COVID year, and I sat in his office, and I wanted to stay, and he said, you got to go coordinate. So I went to Montana State, and then he called me back. So I'm happy to be with him again.
All right. And you have your family here. Introduce your family to
So
everybody here.
My wife, Candace. We've been together 10 years this summer. And then Dakota, my daughter, who's
She's
7.
busy drawing.
And then Ace, who just turned 5 yesterday.
All right. Yeah. Happy birthday, Ace.
Yeah.
So you were a defensive coordinator last year at Montana State. And obviously you guys had a very good football team. Your defense was 6th in the nation in scoring defense and made a run to a national championship game. Jay calls you to come here. What went through your mind when Jay says, hey, come be the defensive coordinator? You went off and were a defensive coordinator. Now you're ready to come back.
Well, yeah, it's a different task and different responsibility. Because we're trying to build something. I walked into a place at Montana State where we needed to just upgrade.
Right.
And here we need to really build from the ground up and get us to play at a really high level. I didn't expect us to be that good last year, but we just keep working, and you turn around and you're a pretty good defense.
How much more comfortable as a defensive coordinator and defensive play caller are you from 1 year to the next? I imagine, we talked about making a big jump from game 1 to game 2. Well,
yeah.
Year 1 to year 2, I imagine you make a pretty big jump too.
Well, just the process. Every week you get better. You think about what could I've done the year before. How can I be a little more efficient with the staff, making adjustments. And every place is different. You adjust to where you're at and what the players need. And you recognize that pretty early, so definitely comfortable in year 2.
Yeah, I love the profile of you on CSURams.com, and you talk about what you want from your defense, and you said, my guys have to have a PhD in football. What do you mean by that?
Well, we want them to be smart.
Yeah.
I actually told Jack, I'm going to retire once I make him the smartest football player on the team. Our guys, we really challenge them to learn our defense, but we're simple. We want our guys to learn offense and understand backfield sets. What type of runs are we getting this week out of certain backfield sets? Receiver splits, receiver releases. So we spend more time talking about the offense and what we're getting than doing what we're doing on defense because we're so simple.
How do you judge the defensive performance last week? Obviously, you struggled a little bit early, but the defense really came on as the game went along. Forced 2 turnovers. I mentioned to Jay, 12 tackles for a loss. The defense seemed to be attacking as that game went on.
Well, it's a work in progress, but we're not going to be happy till we're dominant and we're giving up 10 points a game. And but it's just working every day. Practice, the guys' spirits are really high. They're running to the ball. They're holding each other accountable. And there was just a lot of from game 1, we played hard against Michigan. And we challenged our guys to execute a little bit better against Middle Tennessee State. And we did that a little bit better. Now there's a time where we got to recognize some key moments throughout games where we got to execute key third down situations, key red zone situations where we got to get off the field. We got to execute at a high level. We got to fill those situations and get it done. That was the big key this week.
Freddie Banks, defensive coordinator for Colorado State, joining us on the program. About a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. But you mentioned Jack Cal, and was it 15 or 17 tackles last week? I mean, you watched the film.
Yeah, I gave him 15 on our chart. 15. The guy tripped and fell forward for 4 yards, one of them. So on the stats, he got it. But
yeah, right.
We actually, I think Jack was one of the first guys I called, and I said, well, our strong safety has to do a lot, man. Can you make 93 tackles a year? And on this pace, he's probably going to be more if he keeps it up. You have to tackle, you have to blitz, you got to play a half. You got to communicate the most of anybody on our defense. It's the most complicated position on our defense, and he's doing a really good job.
All right, Washington State coming up on Saturday, and it's kind of like last week, kind of that air raid concepts mixed in that Middle Tennessee had. Yeah. Washington State, how similar are they to Middle Tennessee or to what you guys do, or what your offense does?
Drop back pass is a carbon copy. Mesh, 4 verts, they do it off a little bit more motion. They do tempo, but they're a little more ball control. They do a little bit more RPO than what we saw the last 2 weeks, but and a little more gap scheme run game. But the drop back pass game is exactly the same. Same splits, exact same. So it was really easy to get good work against our offense, really good.
Yeah, but I know you guys probably went ones-on-ones again here this week.
Oh, absolutely. It was really good work, getting speed, trying to cover Tory. It's a little bit different than covering the scouts.
That's right. I mean, Tory, he's certainly proven himself to be one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the Mountain West Conference. Freddie, thank you so much. We appreciate you stopping by, and best of luck on Saturday.
I appreciate you.
All right. That's Freddie Banks, defensive coordinator for the Colorado State Rams. That's going to do it for the broadcast here tonight. A big thank you to Coach Jay Norvell. Jack Howell also joined us, and, of course, Freddie Banks. Back in Learfield Master Control, it was Brad Camp and Dave Jensen. For everybody, Ryan Roth saying so long tonight here from CBN Pots.